accompanied by Director Donna Digna S. Rosario.
Ayang mag-ibig, besang silanganan, ayang ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuwina ng mag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisiling, sa dagat at bundok, sa simulan, sa langit mo tughaw. May dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagtitingin. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidinig. Lupa ng araw ng walhating pagsinta, buhay ang langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng may maaapit ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Hear our prayer, Lord, we are your children, and we gather here today. We're gathered here today. Hear our cry, Lord, we and we need your grace today. Hear us as we pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Our Father, hear us from heaven, forgive our sins, we pray. Hear our song as it rises to heaven, may your glory fill the earth as the water covers the sea. In our hearts, Lord, we will think that is standing in the way of coming to you today. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Our Father, hear us from heaven, forgive our sins, we pray.
And though
we are few, we're surrounded by many who have crossed that river before.
and this is the song,
This is the song I'll be singing forever. Holy is the Lord. Holy is the Lord. Holy is the Lord. Our Father, hear us from heaven, forgive our sins, we pray, of coming to you today. Lord, I come to you. Let my heart be changed in you, flowing from the grace that I found in you. Lord, I lend my heart and see your face to praise the love is stripped away by the power of your love. Hold me close, let your love surround me. Bring me near, draw me to your side, and as I wait, I rise up like an eagle, and I will soar with you. Your spirit leads me on by the power of your love. Lord, in my eye, let me see your face to face the knowledge of your love as you live in me. Lord, renew my mind as your will unfold in my life and leave in every day by the power of your love. Hold me close, let your love surround me. Please bring me near, draw me to your side. And as I wait, I rise up like an eagle, and I will soar with you. Your spirit leads me on by the power of your love, and I will soar with you. Your spirit leads me on by the power of your love.
Good morning po. From the province of Isabela, we have Vocal Delfinito Emmanuel Albano. And from the province of Nueva Vizcaya, we have Acting Community Affairs Officer Jim Calata. Sa Region 3 naman po, we have its delegation headed by its Provincial Administrator, Mr. June Omar Ebdani. And from the province po of Aurora, we have Provincial Board Member Nicasio Salamera. Good morning po. From Region 4 po, we have the Provincial Vice Governor of Rizal, Vice Governor Reynaldo San Juan. And we have from the province of Cavite, the city of Tagaytay, represented by Councilors Lorna Toledo and Annabel Solis. As the lead agency in the implementation of the FOI program in the executive branch, pursuant to Executive Order Number 2 signed by the President in July 23, 2016, we recognize the importance of a whole-of-government approach. In almost 4 years implementing this program, we found that the citizenry should have access to government information not only in the national level, but also in the communities. Here, the role of local government is very important. As one of the basic pillars of our society, local governments have direct interaction with citizenry. Your communication with your constituents, the grassroots, is very essential. And in citizen engagement and citizen participation in government affairs, a whole-of-government approach in the implementation of the FOI program is very significant. As the Executive Order and the PCOO DILG Joint Memorandum Circular on FOI only encourages local governments to pass local ordinance or sign executive orders to operationalize the constitutional right of Filipino citizens to access government information, we are proactively urging you to pass these measures by conducting this conference to localize FOI implementation and ensure that the access to government information would reach even the most remote communities. Sino pa po ba ang mas nakakilala sa ating mga kababayan kung hindi tayong mga pinagkakatiwalaan nila? This conference would clarify misconceptions on FOI implementation. As rights to access information is not absolute, we will discuss the exceptions, modality in the implementation, the platforms that we can use, and the benefits of ease and convenience it may provide. We also have speakers from the DILG and the DBM who will discuss other transparency programs of the government like Project Time and Dev Live. And the DTI who will cover how transparency can increase competitiveness of local governments. Local FOI implementers like the provinces of La Union and Benguet and the city of Legazpi will also discuss their experience, best practices, and guide us on how we can also implement FOI in our locality. Ladies and gentlemen, FOI works. Please focus your attention on the screen as we show to you two phases of our success stories in implementing freedom of information.
FOI program. We have almost all of the 1,000 national government agencies, GOCCs, SUCs, and local water districts with their FOI manuals. And half of that are on our FOI portal, foi.gov.ph. Meaning to say, ang mga kababayan natin can ask information from different government offices online or on paper-based.
I tried to access the portal and then I tried to test it and then I was hoping that just an ordinary program of the government, new programs or maybe they're just adjusting with the system. But after 3 days, I received an email from the FOI. My query was answered after 3 days. So I was very happy and satisfied with the program.
The top most requested information on the FOI program is legal documents. That makes up 42% of FOI requests. 39% of FOI requests are from datasets and statistics. 6% are personal information. So people are asking for copies of official sign-in as well as accomplishment reports and travel reports.
from the past, kailangan kapag mag-request ka ng information, you have to personally visit the offices. Kahit galing ka sa malayo, even if you're from province, yun yung address ng FOI. Kahit nasan ka, as long as you have reliable internet connection, you can access information or you can request. Aside from that, it is somehow proactive. Kung yung request mo is na-request na ng ibang tao, makikita mo na siya doon. So you don't have to make another request.
We are able to harmonize the Executive Order number 2 on the freedom of information with the data privacy law. Napaka-importante lang ang proprotektahin ng ating mga opisyal at mga kasama sa gobyerno ay ang mga sensitive personal information.
Siguro ang pinagkaiba lang dun sa administrasyon ngayon na nakapagpasa ng FOIEO is talagang hindi sila tumigil. Hindi sila tumigil hanggat hindi nila naipapasa kasi alam nila na kailangan yun ng tao na hindi lang para i-practice ng tao kung paano nila gagamitin yung right to information, but because the administration knows that this FOIEO will empower the people to practice their right to know kasi yun yung magiging gateway din para mas makapag-participate sila sa decision making.
It's a very successful program for me since I'm one of the first beneficiaries in the program, so I can attest its efficacy and its efficiency.
Ang FOI ay hindi lang para sa transparency. Hindi lang siya tool para labanan ang korupsyon and to maintain accountability in government. FOI is for knowledge, it's for information, it's for transparency, and it's for empowerment.
Let us discuss, let's exchange ideas, and let's engage everyone to know more about freedom of information. I know that after the event, your support to FOI will be intensified. You as FOI advocates will be the catalyst to finally operationalize this constitutional provision, a right guaranteed by the highest law of the land, to provide the citizens access to government information. And in the process, you are not only FOI advocates, but a cornerstone of our democracy. Again, on behalf of Secretary Martin Andanar and the PCOO, good morning.
One of the pillars of successful leadership is transparency and access to information on matters of public concern to each and every Filipino citizen. My dear friends and esteemed colleagues, I am very proud of the accomplishment of this administration with regard to freedom of information. One of the first directives signed by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte when he became head of state is Executive Order number 2 of 2016, or the Executive Order on Freedom of Information. That being said and done, it goes to show that the government you have today does not hide anything from the people. The President himself wants the nation to know that they are not deprived with what the government is doing and gives full disclosure and dissemination of all information to all. The administration's main campaign has always been against illegal drugs, criminality, and corruption. The effect of the Freedom of Information Directive puts an end to red tape, under-the-table transactions, and most importantly, corruption. The President detests corruption, and so do I, which is why efforts to cleanse this government have always been aggressive. We want to end the cycle that has kept on poisoning the system. Corruption doesn't just cripple our institutions, it destroys the dreams of the Filipino people. True and lasting change starts from within. So President Duterte and I ask everyone working in the government to take part in this movement to give Filipinos their right to data and information. Always remember that we are public servants. Our interests should be for the people and not our own. We took an oath, and we are all here today because they trust us to provide them better, accessible, and helpful programs that greatly affect the lives of many people. Thank you and good day to everyone.
Freedom of Information Conference on Local Government Units. I am honored to address fellow public servants gathered and united to pursue transparency and accountability to their own locally crafted freedom of information ordinances. Freedom of information is essential in ensuring a firmly established culture of good governance in the country. This conference is a major stride. Siguro ito yung kaunang conference na nalalaman ko tungkol dito. And as Senate Committee Chairman of Local Government, I am truly honored to address you kahit nasa remote po ngayon. Dahil napakahalaga po ito, hindi lang sa pagbibigay kaalaman sa ating mga kababayan sa mga pagitan ng mga blackboards sa inyong mga munisipyo, kundi doon sa mga pang-araw-araw ninyong gawain na dapat po kaalam at kasali ang ating mga kababayan. I am confident that this gathering will set the tide for the effective implementation of transparency and accountability initiatives in the local level. Once again, let me congratulate everyone here whose commitment to transparency and honest governance has been steadfast. I'm one with you in the pursuit of good governance. Mabuhay po kayong lahat at maraming salamat.
To our officials from the Presidential Communications Operations Office, the drivers of the Freedom of Information Program at the Executive Branch, our FOI champions in Congress, the local chief executives who strongly support President Duterte in the good governance agenda of this administration, fellow public servants, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. It is my honor to speak before you in this conference about one of the President's high priority measures for the protection of the people's fundamental right to information. A fundamental right that is enshrined in our 1987 Constitution. While some FOI measures had been conceived by past administrations, it was only during the term of President Duterte, and in fact in his first month in office, that Executive Order Number 2 was issued to operationalize in the executive branch the people's constitutional right to information and the state policies to full public disclosure and transparency in public service. From the time of the issuance of the EO, thousands of FOI requests, both paper-based and electronic, via the e-FOI portal, have been received and addressed by concerned national government agencies. This only shows that Filipinos are now enabled and empowered by their government to exercise this fundamental freedom. Department champions have likewise been recognized for their efforts to advance the FOI program and promote a freedom of information compliant bureaucracy. FOI compliance has also been made a cross-cutting requirement for the grant of performance-based bonuses. Local government units, as indispensable partners of the administration in governance, are also encouraged to observe this order. And this is the reason why all of us are here today. DILG PCOO Joint Memorandum Circular number 2018-01 was issued to further encourage LGUs to enact an ordinance or local executive order containing the provisions of EO number 2. I'm extremely happy to know that there are local chief executives among us today who are strong champions of FOI and have complied with its requirements. In light of the Mandanas ruling that LGUs will already be receiving bigger allocations from national revenues, stricter accountability and transparency measures are needed now more than ever, and the FOI program proves to be one such measure. Many successes have been achieved, but many more needs to be done for a truly transparent and accountable government that deserves the faith and trust of its people. And that is why we will continue to push forward the passage of the FOI bill. If enacted, this legislation will open up the doors of all branches of government to public requests for information, an embodiment of true citizen participation in governance. Sa muli, maraming salamat sa pagiging kaisa ng administration sa pakikipaglaban para sa karapatan ng mga Pilipino na makakuha ng impormasyon tungkol sa mga aktibidad ng kanilang gobyerno. Ipagpatuloy po natin ang laban at aasahan namin ang inyong suporta. Mabuhay po kayo lahat at magandang araw.
Governor Bulot, municipal mayors, city mayors, fellow public servants, na imbag na agsapa, karatay amin, and welcome to Baguio City. It is a great pleasure for me to be here today as the guest of my friend and my colleague Chris Ablan. I don't know what would have happened with EO02. I don't know what would have happened to EO02 without us at Chris Ablan. I have 3 points, and as one like you before, I was a local chief executive in my past life. In 2007 to 2010, in my cute little town in Atoning Mountain Province. And I know how it feels for local chief executives and local government units to go around and go to Manila to look for funds to bring home to our towns and to our provinces. I have 3 things for today, and since I'm not running for senator, I'd like to be with you and share with you and partner with you. First, trust. Pag nagbibigay po ang ating mga kababayan ng kanilang taxes, they expect so much from us because they entrust their monies with us. That's quite cliche. And of course, with that, when they trust us, they expect that whatever information that they needed, we have to provide. And with all this that you want, when you want transparency, that comes with trade-offs. Because some would get information para kasuhan po tayo. But ganyan po talaga ang public service. Walang libre, walang madali. Pangalawa po, ang mga kababayan natin, and kahit sa amin lang po, sa personal na buhay natin, we can never understand something that we don't know. Kapag hindi po natin alam ang mga nangyayari, we mistrust. In my locality, in Atoning po, the population never rose. Mula nung high school ako at pagbalik ko. Yung 10,000 na population po nung high school ako, pagbalik ko after many years, ganun pa rin. So lahat, alam. Pero, base lang yun dun sa chika. Uy, alam mo ba, may ganito daw, may ganyan daw. Nung time namin noon, wala pang freedom of information. So, paano nila ma-access kung ano ang totoo? And when they go to, halimbawa, sa Treasury o sa Sangguniang Bayan, wala silang basehan. With the freedom of information, they are empowered and our kababayans will be empowered. And of course, tayo, we can have time, we can have the avenue for us to be able to explain ourselves sa ating mga kababayan because we owe it to them. And pangatlo, I always talk about my little town every time that I go around. And I have been doing that for many years, even when I was with the Office of the Ombudsman. I am here today not for just transparency and corruption, but more of empowerment for local governments. We want to know what the national government has for all of us so that there's something that we can bring home. And it had always been like that because our era will never be enough for our constituents, for our towns, for our provinces. So with FOI, we can access whatever programs that the national government has. In fact, ang dami-dami pong pera ng ating national government, ang dami-daming programa, pero hindi natin na-access. Bakit? Kasi kung minsan hindi natin alam, or kung minsan ayaw lang natin, or kung minsan parang tinatamad na tayo. Sometimes it gets tiring in government, in public service. It gets tough, it gets tiring after 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years. But of course, if your heart is in the right place and you are a public servant, you know na hindi ka mapapagod. Kahit kung minsan ang dami-dami mo ng kaso sa ombudsman. With the advent of the passing of the bill, which as a Chris Ablan had been very persistent to be passed in Congress, parang ganyan din lang sa mga ordinansya natin sa local governments. But if and when it becomes a law, maa-access po natin lahat yung mga kaso sa ombudsman kung nasaan na po. And for me na nandun sa ombudsman for 6 years na investigador, hindi po madali alam ko for local governments to be able to access kung may kaso po tayo. But with and when, mapapasa po yan. Lahat po na pwede po natin, hindi naman lahat kasi may mga restrictions. Pero karamihan, especially pag may mga kaso pa tayo, pwede natin malaman. Sa Ombudsman, sa COMELEC, sa COA, at kahit saan. And with that, of course, sa inyo po, to our thinkers, our inspirers, our movers in the local government, para po sa inyo ang FOI. Kasi pag hindi po nararamdaman ng ating kababayan na meron po ito, then they will be guessing and they will be thinking na wala po tayong ginagawa. Again, sa inyo pong lahat, please be partners with FOI, please be partners with us, and on behalf of Secretary Martina Danar and as Chris Ablan, mabuhay po kayo, please be partners with us. Naimbagang sapa, Diyos de Almina, Kalatean.
Alright, so today this morning we will be discussing freedom of information. I will be giving an update on how we are doing with FOI. And after my talk, we will be inviting Mayor Rosal, and La Union Legal Officer Sir Attorney Dong to discuss their best practices. In the afternoon, we will be introduced with other mechanisms for us as users and implementers. We have invited the ILG's DevLive team and TPM's Project Time to discuss their initiatives. Okay, so let's start. Next slide. I will be honest with you, the reasons why we are holding this FYI ordinance is actually twofold. Our first reason for inviting you over is to encourage you to use the program. FOI is not just for citizens. FOI is also for local officials. How many times have you had to visit Metro Manila and follow up your request with TA for your Farm to Market Road project? How many times have you gone to Manila to follow up with DPWH, DSWD, and DOH for your various requests? You can use FOI and not leave your municipality or town and ask it directly on the portal. Search for the national government agency you are looking for and they will answer. So we are encouraging you as users of FOI. My second reason and more important reason is to convince you to become implementers of FOI. Hopefully this morning will be a fruitful discussion and exchange of ideas to convince you, to convince your leaders, your mayor, your vice mayor, your council to pass their respective FOI ordinance. And so that we have a whole of government approach in disclosing information to the public. Another reason is I would like to discuss the breakdown as LGU, as users. Number one, if you have a request from the DPWH on a project and you haven't been given the results, or somebody in central office is asking for money or a favor, then you can use FOI because they are required to respond to you. Whether or not you come from a first-class municipality or a fifth or fourth-class municipality, everyone who requests through the program is given 15 working days. FOI can be also useful for your decision-making, especially you vice governors, vice mayors, city councilors. When you pass your ordinances, it should be based on evidence and data. You're passing an ordinance regarding protection of HIV, but you don't know what is the number of HIV cases in your province or your municipality. You ask it from the Department of Health. They have data sets on HIV. FOI can be used by your LGU for making better decisions, not only in the council but also in the executive posts. FOI is also useful for empowerment. Usapan namin sa mga national government agencies na nagsasapawan po kami. We are all trying to get your attention for our programs. No, I have a program which is FOI. DILG has DevLive, DBM has Project Time, and then you have ARTA with Ease of Doing Business. There's just so many programs. Nagpapatong-patong po yan. And sayang pag hindi nyo po na-access ang iba't ibang klase ng mga programa na meron ng government. At ang may alam lang is yung may kakilala sa loob. FOI changes that. Magkaroon po kami ng transparency, ilabas po namin yung mga agency mandate, list of beneficiaries, so on and so forth. That is considered proactive disclosure. You also have your websites where you upload your circulars, your resolutions, your ordinances. That's all proactive disclosure. That's all government thinking what information is useful to the people. But have we ever thought of listening from them? Kung anong impormasyon ang mahalaga sa kanila. Madami po yan. Example po sa PCOO. Di po namin alam na importante pala issue sa ating mga kababayan is kung saan napupunta ang ating presidente. We receive FOI requests of where the president is going. So listening to, it means they are wary, they're concerned how much of the government coffers is spent in traveling. Makes us listen, makes us more circumspect on whether or not to accompany the president to go to Australia or to the Middle East. Kung dati, meron kaming 5 o 7 mga USEC at ASEC, di ba ako kasama, na sumasama kay Presidente, dahil po nakatanggap po kami ng mga FOI requests na ang mga taong bayan ay interesado kung ilan po ba sa PCOO ang sumasama, kumunti na po yun. Mula po sa 5 o 7, naging 2 o 3 na lang po. It's a listening tool. And I can see its application in the local government level. Kasi hindi naman po natin kabisado ang lahat mula sa ating mga kababayan. For various reasons. They requested for their thesis or dissertation. They requested because their loved one is confined in a hospital that they do not know if it is a trauma center or not. They're trying to make sure that the gender and development budgets of different local offices are used properly and not to go to team building and other waste of money. FOI also works for implementers, as the next slide shows you. Endorsements from Secretary Duque of the DOH, Secretary Dominguez from the Department of Finance, Secretary Bello of the Department of Labor and Employment, and Secretary Lorenzana of the Department of Defense. Medyo maliit po yung kanilang mga testimonies, pero lahat sila are supportive po of freedom of information. So FOI works for users and it works for implementers. Next slide. So what is FOI? Some of you here are already representing LGUs with draft ordinances. Some of you have no idea what FOI is, so that you're here. And let me spend a few minutes just to explain the program. Next slide. Like I mentioned, it is based in our 1987 Constitution, reiterated in the Executive Order back in 2016. And it says, every Filipino shall have access to information, official records, public records, and to documents and papers pertaining to official acts, transactions, or decisions, as well as to government research data used as basis for policy development. Mga kontrata po, mga copy ng mga executive order ni Mayor, mga sanggunian, panlalawigan, resolutions, mga sanggunian bayan, ordinances, mga datos po ninyo, statistics po, yan po yung mga impormasyon na pwede pong ma-request sa information, sa FOI. Pumunta ako sa sanggunian secretary office, wala daw sa kanila, pumunta daw ako sa office ni Vice Gov. Pagpunta ko sa office ni Vice Gov, wala daw sa kanila, nasa office ng provincial admin. Pagkatapos ng admin, pinapunta ako sa legal, paikot-ikot. So number 1 is you have to assign a person. And you call them the FOI receiving officer. Now it varies across LGUs. It can be your provincial information office, it can be the admin, it can be the SP secretary, it can even be the office of the governor. Kayo na po bahala kung sino po yung tatanggap. Ang mahalaga, pagdating po ng ating stakeholder o citizen, alam po niya kung saan pupunta. After that, the receiving officer will conduct an initial evaluation. Kompleto po ba yung kanyang application? Na-identify po ba niya yung impormasyon na hinihingi niya at yung time period? If all of those are checked, then he or she passes it off to an FOI decision maker. Sa national government po, pinili po natin ang lowest ay dapat may supervisory or discretionary power. Yan po ang aming division chief. Anything lower, COS, job order, iniiwasan po natin yan. Yan ang ating decision maker. Sa ibang ahensya po, this is a director. In NEDA, the decision maker for all NEDA FOI requests is none other than the secretary himself. Okay? Next slide. Ano po ang kailangan? Wala po kami hinihingi mula po sa taong bayan, kundi ipakita nila ang kanilang government-issued ID. Why are we requiring the presentation of the government-issued ID? Two reasons. The first reason is to ensure that the citizen is a Filipino because this is an exercise of a Filipino right. Of course, this is what we say. But the real reason why we are asking for a government-issued ID is to lessen the chances of receiving a vexatious request. Ayaw kasi po natin na pag anonymous yan, naku, kung ano-ano yung tatanungin sa atin. Na-experience na po yan ng UP, University of the Philippines, nakatanggap po sila ng FOI request. Nagtanong po si isang tao ng ilang butil ng dahon ang meron sa UP sunken garden. Napaka-piloso po. We found out that when we asked them to identify themselves, they would be more careful of what to ask. So that is the practical reason. The public reason we will say is because it is an exercise of a Filipino right. I forgot this is actually being broadcasted live on the PIA on PTV. So, live siya. So, wala akong gagawa. Next slide. Fees. How much do we ask? Wala po tayong hinihingi na fees for asking. Libre po dapat ang magtanong. But, we leave it out to you LGUs to determine reasonable fees for printing and photocopying. Pag digital po yung hiningi po nila, soft copy, libre nyo na. Bigyan kayo ng USB, transfer nyo na po yung information. Pero pag ang hiningi po nila ay papel, then you can impose reasonable fees. Now, what is the definition of reasonable? It depends on your sanggunian. In national government, reasonable ranges between free, 1 peso, 2 pesos, meron pong 5 pesos, meron pang pasaway, 20 pesos. But the average is between 1 to 2 pesos per page. So yan lang po ang requirements. Government issued ID. Paano po kung estudyante? We accept the school ID. And it should be free. But LGUs may impose reasonable fees for printing and photocopying. Next slide. How long does it take? 15 working days po sa executive order. 15 working days po ang nakalagay sa FOI bill. Kayo po sa LGU, bahala na po kayo kung kukopehin nyo po yung period. May mga iba pong ahensya ng gobyerno na pinaiksi po yan. PRC po can disclose information within 7 days. Iba po kinope po yung 15 working days. Ang reklamo sa amin ng mga estudyante, bakit napakatagal naman yan? We live in an instant generation, no? Instant food, instant noodles, Instagram, instant relationship, instant everything. Bakit 15 working days? Ang tagal-tagal naman yan. It's because we explain to them, when you request information from government using FOI, the information disclosed is official records and we have to make sure na we've been able to review kung pwede ba siyang i-disclose or it falls under any of the exemptions. Kaya 15 working days. So naintindihan naman po natin yan. So ulitin ko po, sa inyo sa LGU, maaari nyo pong paiksiin po yan, pero huwag nyo naman pong lampas naman po yan. So sa amin, 15 working days for simple requests. Next slide. Additional 20 working days for complex requests po dapat yan. Next slide. Ay, balik po tayo doon. So 35 working days. Pero wag nyo naman pong sagarin ang 35 working days, yung po yung unang reklamo ng media o ng Malacanang Press Corps. Naging 35 working days lang yung total nung nag-request po sila ng salin mula sa Malacanang Records. Umabot nga ng 2 buwan bago i-disclose ng reklamo sa amin ng Inquirer. Asik, mas mabuti pa nung wala pang EO, nung humingi kami ng salin, i-disclose kaagad. So kinausap po namin yung MRO. Sabi namin, hindi naman ibig sabihin na porket 35 working days, sagarin niyo po yung 35 work, isasagad niyo po. Huwag niyo naman po isagad. Kung andyan na po yung impormasyon, i-disclose na. Since then, we have been able to track national government agencies and on the average processing time is 7 days. In fact, you have agencies such as the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA, dati pong NSO, can disclose information within the day. Humingi po kayo sa umaga, sa hapon din i-disclose na. Bakit? halos lahat po ng information na hiningi po sa PSA andun na po sa website. So ang ginagawa lang ng PSA ay hinahanap lang yung hyperlink, tapos yun na po yung inilalagay sa sagot. Wag na wag po kayong magsagot ng FOI request na your FOI is successful, please look it up at the website. Kaya nga po nagtanong kasi malamang hindi po mahanap sa website ninyo. Hindi ko po alam kung you have someone else with fresh eyes look at your website. Malamang sabihin, napaka-komplikado ng website natin. Ilang tabs po ang ikiklikin. Isang example po dyan, BIR. Huwi ka lang ng revenue regulation. Ilang kiklik mo, pagbukas mo, error pa. Kaya po nagtanong yan. Pag andyan na po yan, sa website ninyo, kunin nyo po yung hyperlink at yun po ibigay ninyo. Tulungan na po natin ang taong bayan na hanapin yung impormasyon na meron natin. So we are working with national government agencies to further decrease the number of days of processing time. From 7 days, hopefully, maabot po namin yung requirement ng ARTA na 3 araw pa lang pag humingi ng impormasyon, mailabas na ng ahensya. Next slide. We have 2 ways of asking information in the national government. You have the standard FOI. Ang standard FOI is pupunta po ang taong bayan sa opisina ninyo, sa Capitol, sa City Hall, at magtatanong po dyan. And then mag-iintay po sila ng 2 linggo bago po makatanggap ng sagot. Meron din kaming electronic FOI. It's foi.gov.ph. And we opened the portal to LGUs. We already have 3 LGUs on the portal, the first one being Pasig City. So once you have your FOI ordinance in place already, and you want to be on board, just give us a call and we will activate po your dashboard. Next slide. This slide shows you the information disclosure cycle. Meron po tayong proactive disclosure, meron po tayong reactive disclosure. Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, may mga nagsasabi na hindi na kailangan ng FOI. Kasi meron po tayong transparency seal, meron po tayong full disclosure policy, may dev drive, may project time, aanin pa, may website pa kayo. Sabi ko na nga po, yan po ay examples ng proactive disclosure. Us thinking what is relevant to the people. But we must leave an opportunity for citizens to ask from us. And when they ask from us, then we are able to listen to them. And when we listen to them, we no longer have to wait for them to ask, we already proactively disclose. At paikot-ikot lang yan hanggang wala na po ang magtanong. Next slide. Of course, there are exemptions. Hindi po absolute. So, mahalaga na yung mga concerns ninyo na gamitin po ang FOI para kung ano-ano po ang hingin sa inyo, meron po tayo exceptions. Sa national government, meron po kaming siyam. Dahil may autonomy po kayo, pwede kayong dumagdag po ng exception as long as it's backed by a sanggunian ordinance. Siyam po yan. Isa-isahin po natin yan. Next slide. Unang-una ay information covered by executive privilege. This exception, however, can only be exercised by the President. But a sub-exception here is something that sanggunians can use, which is called the deliberative process privilege. It can be used by your committees, it can be used by your respective sanggunians. The case here is called Sereno versus CTRM. A few years ago, some persons, nung nag-change po ng price, ang NEDA, ng presyo po ng gas po yata, nagreklamo pa yata yung LPG Association, kung ano po yung naging basehan ng Committee on Trade and Other Related Matters kung bakit nila inakyat yung presyo ng tax o ng duty. Hindi po din-disclose ng NEDA. Dinala po sila sa Supreme Court. Ang sabi ng Supreme Court, this is covered by deliberative process privilege. Bakit? Kasi kapag issues na ganito ka-importante na kailangan natin ng deliberative process para makapaggawa ng desisyon, pag alam ng committee member na matatanong siya tungkol sa sinabi niya sa isang diskusyon, baka hindi niya i-share yung knowledge niya. Yun yung iniiwasan natin. Na pag alam niya, natatanungin niya, ditatahin na lang ako, ma-expose pa ako. So the Supreme Court said, they are covered by the deliberative process privilege. In order for the resource person, the member of the committee, to freely express his knowledge, in order for the committee to decide on it properly, freely, then that information should not be disclosed. Please read up on that case kasi briefly ko lang diniscuss yan. The title of the case is Sereno versus CTRM, a 2016 case. So sa inyo po, na-concern po mga sanggunian members, just in case na may hiningi po sila. For example, meron po kayong disciplinary admin case po at ang hiningi po ay draft decision. Hindi nyo kailangan i-disclose yan. Sabi niyo po, it's covered by the deliberative process privilege. Next slide. National security, defense, or international relations. So hindi po pwedeng ma-disclose yung information na malalagay po sa panganib ang buhay ng mga sundalo, kapulisan po natin, pati na rin yung mga provincial. Sa amin sa Ilocos Norte, ang aming katumbas na police is yung Public Safety Department, no? DPS po. So kung ang hinihingi po kung saan po sila nakadeploy, saan po sila nakatira, hindi po pwedeng disclose yun kasi yung buhay nila ay malalagay sa panganib. Ang case po natin dito, this is on the national level. I don't know its application in the local level. It's the case of Lagman versus Medialdea. 2017 case po. I-google nyo na lang po yun. Lagman, this is Congressman Edsel Lagman versus Salvador Medialdea. Ang kaso po dyan ay tinanong po ni Congressman Lagman, ang OP, ano po ba ang factual basis for the President to declare martial law in Mindanao after the bombings po. Kasi nakalagay po sa proclamation ay, because of lawless violence in Mindanao, I declare martial law in Marawi and so on and so forth. Sabi ni Lagman, kailangan ko malaman kung ano yung factual basis nyo, asan ba yung mga sundalo ninyo, bakit ba tayo na hindi nyo ba alam? Sabi ng Supreme Court, siding with Medialdea, we cannot disclose that. Because that exposure of our soldiers' location may endanger their lives. National security exemption. Next slide. Related to that is law enforcement and protection of public and personal safety. Sa national government, sa national law, meron tayong tinatawag na HIV protection law. Di ko alam kung nasa Congress pa yata si Governor Bulot noon. No? I think but disclosure of information, if who has HIV would actually, ma-ostracize na yan eh. Pagdidirian po sila. So we need to protect their personal safety. So I don't know how you can use that po in the local level. If you can justify that non-disclosure of such information is to protect public safety, then you are justified from not disclosing the information. Next slide. Confidential information by reason of protecting privacy. Data privacy po yan. Nakukolekta po kayo ng mga impormasyon. Lalo-lalo na po pag may beneficiary po kayo sa social welfare. Hinihingi po yan ng mga businesses kasi hahabulin po nila, bibigay po sila ng loans. Hindi nyo po kailangan i-disclose yan kasi they are protected by data privacy. Sa national government, nasampulan na po kami niyan. Ang hiningi po dahil iba po meron pong requirement ng list of beneficiaries. Isang ahensya po, dinisclose po not only the name, DOH and PhilHealth, recipients ng mga gamot. The name, the address, yung uri ng gamot na binigay sa kanila. You have to balance transparency and protecting privacy of information. So, you don't disclose that. Kasi personal information nila, kung ano yung sakit nila at ano yung gamot na nakuha nila. You don't disclose that. The most that a person can request are names. That's it. And if they want contact details, the most that can be disclosed are official telephone number and official email. Mayroon pong naging SSS naman po, ang hiningi po ay mga pangalan at contact details. Ang na-disclose po ay personal number at saka personal email. Then they were harassed kasi yung nag-request pala was a loan shark at pinautang sila at tinawag-tawagan sila. So ngayon, ang ating directive is ang hiningi po ay listahan ng mga empleyado, pangalan at official email at official. Do not disclose the personal information unless the person consents, unless the officer gives his consent. Next slide. Confidential information by reason of official capacity. So yan po, pag ang local office nyo po nag-submit ng report, nagpa-investiga po kayo ng local community college o nagpa-investiga po kayo ng district hospital at sinabit po sa inyo, Hindi po pwede gamitin ng FOI para makuha yung report na yun. Because the information is confidential by reason of official capacity. Nakalimutan ko po, dun sa national security, napakahalaga po ang Memorandum Circular number 68. MC78 po, which authorizes head of agencies, including mayors and governors, to classify documents as top secret, secret, confidential, and restricted. So, may mga bagay-bagay po kayo na ginagawa na top secret po, i-classify nyo na po siya. Hindi nyo po kailangan i-disclose yun pag classified siya by virtue of MC78. This is, next slide. Judicial premature disclosure. This exception does not apply to you. You may not need include this in your ordinance. This only applies to government finance institutions like the GSIS. Ang example po dyan, humingi po ng impormasyon tungkol po sa saan ininvest ng GSIS ang pera last year. Pwede po yun kasi tapos na. Nagiging prejudicial premature disclosure siya pag ang hiningi mo ay kung saan mag-i-invest ang GSIS bukas. Because disclosure of such information would lead to market instability. No, ang chismoso pa naman natin, pag nalaman natin na mag-i-invest sa San Miguel, hindi lahat tayo nag-invest sa San Miguel. It is prejudicial, it is premature. Next slide. Records of proceedings. Ayan. So yung mga records of proceedings natin, protected pa rin yan. So mga records of proceedings ng sanggunian for admin matters, hindi nyo kailangan pong i-disclose yan. Unless all parties consent. Okay? All of the exceptions, except for national security, pwede pong ma-disclose pag may consent naman yung person involved. Next slide. Again, this does not apply to you, it only applies to banks. So, andyan pa rin po ang Foreign Currency Deposit Act natin, ang Bank Secrecy Law natin, protected pa rin po siya. Next slide. And other exceptions under laws, jurisprudence, and implementing rules. So, kung meron kayong current sanggunian bayan o sanggunian panlalawigan ordinances restricting disclosure of information, well, at least sa national government, we respect it. Tulad po ng attorney-client privilege. So yan po ang siyam na exceptions. Hindi po kayo limited dyan sa siyam. Pwede nyo pong kopyahin po lahat, para lang yung banking related exceptions, pwede rin po kayong dumagdag. Pwede rin kayo mag-implement ng FOI through phasing, kasi nga may autonomy po kayo. So kung comfortable lang po kayo na ang unang mag-disclose lang ay ang admin, ang sanggunian, saka yung mayor's office, yun lang muna. And then next year na yung ibang offices, pwede naman po yun. You can implement it through phase. We have our best practices discussion later on. Next slide. So what have people been asking? I'll go to this fast because meron na po tayong panel discussion. Next slide. They have been asking for hazard maps. Dahil po madami na po tayong mga earthquake, volcanic eruptions, typhoons, people are concerned. Is my house on top of a fault line? And if it is, I should move. So humingi na po ang tao ng mga hazard maps mula sa OCD, saka sa VVOX. Next slide. Humingi na rin po tayo, and FOI can be useful also for businesses to make better decisions. This guy was asking for information kasi software developer siya from Silicon Valley in California. Punta po siya dito, magbubukas siya ng sarili niyang software firm. Di po niya alam magkano ba balance ang mga software developers saka engineers niya. Ayaw naman niya po na mag-underpay, ayaw rin niya mag-overpay. So anong ginawa niya? Humingi po siya ng information mula sa National Wages and Productivity Commission or NWPC, isang ahensya sa ilalim ng DOLE. Dinisclose. Next slide. Ito naman po, another businessman, farmer po siya, hasyendero, yung pag-fertilize po is mano-mano, and he wants to use drones. Kesa naman na mag-import siya ng drones, yung pala hindi pwede, nagtanong muna siya. Nagtanong siya sa FPA. Ano ba yung mga requirements kung gusto kong gumamit ng drones for agriculture and industrial processes? What do you know? Meron palang requirements ang FPA. Next slide. So ano na po, you already heard this to the video, 42% legal documents, 39% statistics, 6% personal information. So yung mga concern nyo po, o ng mga mayor, o ng mga vice mayor, governor, o vice governor, na gagamitin po yung FOI para i-harass po kayo, the data does not show it. 80% request for legal documents and datasets, information that you are already comfortable disclosing. And the personal information you're afraid, only 6% ask. And of the 6%, that's even protected by the Data Privacy Act. So there's no need to worry. Yung 13% po, yan po yung ginamit yung FOI para magreklamo. Ang dami po kami natanggap na reklamo. Ang sagot po namin, hindi po 8888 ang FOI. 888 nga, doon kayo magreklamo, FOI for information. So, next slide. Total number of FOI requests we've received in national government. Paper-based po, 29,000. Electronic is 25,000 for a total of 55,000. To date po yun, starting January 2017. So, hindi po ganun kadami. Takot din po namin before na pag nagkaroon po ng FOI, lahat ng mga tao magsisita ng tanungan. The data says, no, not so much. I'll share with you a secret po. The media does not use FOI. Why? Natatagalan po sila sa 15 working days. By the time na i-disclose natin yung information, tapos na yung storya. So they have their other sources of getting information. This is really a backup. FOI is not the first mechanism a person would use. Siyempre, pag agency to agency, courtesy, mag-request kayo ng information o kakilala. Pag wala, gamitin po natin yung FOI. But the feature has to be there. The feature has to be there. Next slide. Our success rate, ang yabang-yabang naman po ni ASEC, akala mo kakaganda-ganda. Ano pa ba yung success rate ninyo? Out of every 10 FOI requests, half are successful. 5. 3 are unsuccessful and the 2 are being processed. So we are working to increase that from a 47% all the way up to 80%. So what happens with the 30% that nade-deny? Ano yung reason for denial? Most of the time, the FOI request is denied because the FOI request is made with an agency that does not have the information. Ang daming beses po humingi po sa amin, wala po sa amin yung information na sa inyo po sa lokal. So dinideny po namin yan. And the second reason for denying is because it falls under the exceptions. Next slide. FOI is local. Let me show you some slides that natatanggap po namin sa national government na dapat kayo po ang sumagot. Next slide. Mula po sa PSA, the top 3 information requested from the PSA, check nyo po, population, family income, and then they ask for barangay data. But the problem with asking barangay data from PSA is usually the data is dated. When was the last time they surveyed your province or your region? 2016 pa. But you guys have up-to-date data. So yan po yung kahalagaan. Kahit na we collect that information that is requested from you, the information that we have is usually 3 to 5 years old. Kayo po ang may updated data. Next slide. From the Department of Health, top 3 po, dengue cases, mortality rate, hospital bed ratio. People are interested how well-equipped are hospitals. Ang dami pong mga hospital na governed na po ng mga LGUs. Wala po kaming datos. Next slide. Wala naman po sa DPWH, annual average daily traffic. Humingi po sila ng datos, gano'n po ka-traffic sa Naga, gano'n po ka-traffic sa Cebu o sa Davao. So, FOI is local. There's only so much the national government can answer. Next slide. Finally, from Pag-asa po, top 3 information being requested. Number 3 po, list of flood-prone areas in the Philippines. And I'm pretty sure they're also curious on what are the flood-prone areas in your local governments. So yan po ang ating mga examples ng FOI request na local information. Sana po matulungan niyo po kami. Next slide. Alright, so meron po tayong DILG PCOO Joint Memorandum Circular number 2018-01. And yan po ay niladaan ni Secretary Andanar at ni Secretary Anyo noong 2018, encouraging you to pass your FOI ordinances. Meron din po kaming inattached na FOI ordinance template na pwede nyo pong gamitin. Next slide. You can download it on foi.gov.ph/resources. You are by no means obligated to copy and paste it. You can adjust it the way you want to. Mayor Rafael will discuss his version of his ordinance, and they have passed a great ordinance there kasi inayos nila, may open contracting provision sila doon. Next slide. Okay, ito naman po ang aming listahan ng mga LGUs na may FOI ordinance. Sa amin, nag-submit Benguet, Ilocos Norte, Surigao del Norte, Bohol, La Union, Masbate, Occidental Mindoro, Batanes. Pasig sa Metro Manila, Lawag, Legazpi, Albay, Tuguegarao, Cagayan, Antipolo, Rizal. Himamaylan, Negros Occidental, Valenzuela, Calapan, Occidental Mindoro, Quezon City just passed its ordinance this week. Paquil, Laguna, San Nicolas, Ilocos Norte, San Roque, Northern Samar, Infanta, Quezon, Torrijos, Marinduque, Sablayan, Occidental Mindoro, Consolacion, Cebu at Santo Domingo, Ilocos Sur. Sana po, dagdagan po ninyo dito sa Luzon Island ang bilang na may FOI ordinance. Next slide. Humingi naman po kami ng datos mula sa DILG Bureau of Local Government Supervision or DILG BLGS. Ayon sa datos nila, 162 actually ang mga LGUs na may FOI ordinance. Pero hindi siya verified. So we need to verify this still. Next slide. I think of the attendees today, out of the 162, we have to verify with you guys. So, yung Isabela Rep, Bataan po, Balanga, Province of Laguna, and San Pablo, well, of course, Naga City, kasama na po. So, yung 5 po dyan, kung pwede po namin kausapin po kayo mamaya dyan sa labas, kung meron po kayong kopya, bigyan nyo po kami ng kopya ng ordinansya ninyo para madagdag po namin kayo sa listahan ng localities na may FOI ordinance. Next slide. So, we are conducting an LGU conference not only in Luzon but also in Visayas and Mindanao. Sa Visayas po kami, we will be in Cebu in April, and sa Mindanao po, we will be in Gensan in June. Next slide. This is something that I want to announce first time to local governments. We are launching these different LGU-related programs. Number 1 is we will be launching a badge system this year. Not all LGUs in FOI implementation are created equal. Iba-iba po yan. Meron po tayong mga LGUs katulad po ng Legazpi City sa Albay na very advanced na po ang implementation nila ng FOI. So, meron tayong badge system. Meron tayong FOI, ano yung mga levels natin ng FOI, Kate? FOI, ano yun? Compliant, FOI, ready, FOI, performer, and FOI champion. Yan. So, abangan nyo po yan. So, yung pinakamababa po yan, yung first level po ay FOI ready is may ordinance po kayo. And then paakyat ng paakyat yan. Another thing that we want to launch is the LGU FOI Alliance. So, usually, yung mga talagang mga LGUs na very open to transparency like Legazpi. Hopefully, we get to convince you to form an LGU alliance here in Luzon or at least in Cordillera and in your particular regions para po magsama-sama po tayo. We will be conducting capacity development activities. So if you guys are already thinking of passing your ordinances but don't know what to do afterwards, please send us an invite and we will go to you. And we can conduct a workshop not only through FOI but also other aspects that are related to information disclosure. Katulad po ng data privacy, we will be inviting a representative from the National Privacy Commission to answer all of your privacy concerns. We will also invite a representative from the National Archives of the Philippines to discuss all records management concerns. And we will also be inviting a speaker from NICA to answer you all national security concerns. Ang municipality po of Torrijos in Marinduque, ganun po yun. Medyo nag-alangan po ang kanilang mga Sangguniang Bayan members, inimbita po nila kami, pumunta po kami sa kanila, and then after that, pinas na yung kanilang FOI ordinance. So we will help you. No, we are a one-stop shop. Hindi naman po kami na fly-by-night, na dadaan kami sa inyo, ito po yung ordinansya, tapos bye-bye na po. Tutulungan po namin kayo. Kasi yun po yung aming strategy sa national government, yun din po ang gusto namin gawin sa local government. And finally, for all questions po, we will also be setting up an LGU hotline dedicated po to LGUs who want to have an FOI program. So, abangan nyo po yan ngayon 2020 hanggang 2021. Next slide. We'll also be holding our transparency caravans. These are our schedule. I actually just came back from Eastern Samar yesterday. And then, well, mostly we will be going to Visayas and Mindanao. Pero meron din po kami Luzon, that we will be going to Bulacan po in June. Next slide. Pampanga po, and so sana po, abangan niyo po kami. We're going to Batangas po in September, Tarlac, Tugupan, Pangasinan, Vigan, Tugigaraw, and we're back here in Baguio. So abangan niyo po kami, babalik po kami for a more intimate and detailed discussion of the freedom of information and other transparency initiatives. Next slide. And we will also be holding our FOI Awards in November 2020. So if you can accelerate po ang inyong FOI implementation sa LGU ninyo, and by September po, may masubmit po kayong submission sa amin, maka-consider po kayo, makatanggap po kayo ng FOI award. Ang Legazpi po ay isang award din na po namin. Next slide. And ito po, so abangan nyo po sa 2021. Kaya nag-a-advance na po kami. Yung Joint Memorandum Circular ng DILG saka ng PCOO 2018 pa yun. Tapos iniisa-isa naman na po namin kayo para pag 2021 po, hindi na kayo mabigla. At least may ordinansya na po kayo. Kasi by 2021, makakasali na po sa SGLG ang passage of an FOI ordinance as an indicator or criteria.
Constitutional right to information. Throughout the FOI program's 3-year implementation, the Presidential Communications Operations Office, PCOO, as the lead implementing agency of FOI, saw the increasing demand for community information which are maintained by local government units. The PCOO and the Department of the Interior and Local Government, DILG, forged a partnership and signed a joint memorandum circular that encourages LGUs to pass their own FOI ordinances. Supporting the President's vision of a transparent government, the FOI Project Management Office enjoins local chief executives to champion FOI in their communities. Together, let us build a nation of smart citizens, one that is strengthened by transparency and public trust.
Stated the FOI advocacy down to its regional, provincial, and municipal offices up to the LGUs. Sa pagpapatupad po ng FOI, kasama nyo ang DILG, ang inyong kagawarang matino, mahusay at maasahan para sa mapagkaliga at maunlad na pamahalang lokal. Mula naman po sa aming Secretary Andanar, the government, however unified, cannot achieve a great cause without citizen participation. And finally, from our President, accurate and timely information empowers our citizens to actively participate in nation building. In the spirit of openness and transparency, we are duty-bound to publish information about our government transactions and operations as deemed necessary and in the best interest of our national security. Next slide. And hopefully we can convince you or have convinced you to be partners for change as you pass your own FOI ordinance. Do not forget that FOI is a tool of many in our citizen participation toolbox na sana po ay mapas niyo po sa inyong mga locality. I have no time anymore for open forum. We will go directly po to our panel discussion. If you have questions, reserve them for after lunch. And I will be answering your questions. Thank you very much and mabuhay kayong lahat.
Na meeting before the official session. Doon lalabas yung mga pros and cons. But it was really not easy or not so hard for me because of the leadership that I've instilled in the city. Alam nyo, minsan talaga, na-advise ko, I've been used by the DILG to give lectures to yung mga mayor na naging mayor dahil anak ng mayor, dahil kapatid ng mayor, naging mayor siya. During the first 100 days, I always emphasized on them that leadership is the key, the driver of your development. Maganda rin kasi yung nagmilagro ka na eh. Diba? Gaya ng Legazpi. Diba? Alam ko, kilala natin ang Legazpi na typhoon belt. Diba? We're visited by 10 to 12 typhoons per year. Minsan nag-alburuto pa si Mayon. Diba? Pumunta ako ng Taal, pinapunta ako doon ng... Kasi tingnan ko daw kung anong may tulong ko rin kasi ba kami zero casualty. But I tell you, my friends, number one talaga, the local chief executive should function. Diba? But despite this was never an hindrance for development of Legazpi. Nobody thought that Legazpi in 2018, would you believe, will be rated number one by the National Competitiveness Council as
Palakpakan natin ang
as
Legazpi.
the number one
Congratulations.
diba? Number one competitive city in the country today. And we have been a consistent 3-time Dawat Kalasag for zero casualty. Never been done by other LGUs. And of course, ang awards are awards, but the people will believe when it comes to investments and of course, the lives of the people. So, yung mga sanggunian natin, pag sinabi ko, kailangan ito na siguro yung ating legasiya sa mga tao. Sabi ko sa kanila, kasi tayo, kung i-executive order lang yun, pag wala na tayo, tapos na rin yan. So, kung i-institutionalize natin bawat programa, nobody is above the law. Maski ako hindi na ako mayor, susundin natin yan. Because that law now becomes a form part of all the people should follow sa ating syudad. So with that, sana makakuha kayo ng ordinance namin. Define lahat doon. Like for example, ano ba talaga? Maganda kanina sabi ni Juan, yung sabi ni Yusek Ablan sa atin, ano yung mga pwede at hindi pwede. Pero gusto ko muna i-define sa inyo para guided tayo later on sa kung ano. Ano ba talaga? Ito, alam ko binasihan din ni Secretary Andadar to yung Section 7, Article 3 of the 1987 Constitution. Ito, sinemet lang natin. The right of the people to information on matters of public concern shall be recognized. Access to official records and to documents and papers pertaining to official acts. Tama talaga, transactions, di ba yung mga bidding natin, and to documents and papers pertaining to official acts. And of course, papers pertaining to transaction, decision, as well as to government research data used as basis for policy development shall be afforded the citizen, subject to such limitation as may be provided by law. So, meron tayong exception doon sa ordinance namin, ASEC. Based doon siya, may mga pick-up kami doon para mapadali na. Kaya maganda itong forum natin. Yung template dala ko dyan para mapadali na natin. Kasi pinag-aralan nito, tsaka kumbaga successful na. Kaya maganda na naimbita kami dito, lalo na yung mga LGUs from Manila. Pero hindi lang naman Manila, I think there are many good, very good template from the provinces. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na Legazpi. Ang kagandahan sa amin, meron na kaming form, saka meron kami yung... Ang pinakamaganda dito, yung result. Ano ba ito? Na-actionan ba natin? O lahat denied? Baka mamaya, wala naman... Meron lang tayong ordinansa, pero hindi naman na monitor. Ito yung sinasabi kanina ni Jose. Yung monitoring tool will always be the measurement of the success of this ordinance. Iba po ito doon sa ease of doing business. Remember, ang ease of doing business are mere letters. Meron tayong semi-technical, which is 3 days, 7 days, and 20 days. Di ba? Alam na yung lahat yan, no? So ito po, ito kaya nga 15 days to because kailangan to may clearing office. Kasi baka mamaya may tatamaan tayo, di ba? Na hindi nakasaad doon sa ating exception. Di ba? Ito yon, di ba? Ito, exception. The general rule, information and official records on matters of public concern are accessible, syempre. The exception, those which by law and jurisprudence are accepted in the interest of national or local security and defense. Yan siya explain kanina. Or those which must be confidential for the protection of privacy of a person or a committee. Dito tayo papasok. Diyan na. Siguro kasi wala tayong masalat tayo. Iba pa ako sa inyo, iwan ko yung ordinance namin. Nandito, naka-define lahat yun. Yun din, aside muna. Kasi baka ako lang palagi magsalita.
Thank you, Mayor. Attorney, sa inyo po sa La Union, other than the best practices, were there times when kukuha sila ng mga dokumento sa amin sa Ombudsman dati kasi alam namin pag may kukuha ng SALN or ibang dokumento, nagre-request, kukunin yan para attachment sa mga complaints nila. So, were there challenges as such dun sa La Union po after FOI?
Actually, wala naman pong masyadong naging problema. It's just that, kunyari, may instances na nagkaroon ng aksidente, meron po kasi kaming mga district hospitals. So, yung mga police na nag-iimbestiga or may pending civil or criminal action na sa korte, ay humihingi ng documents related to the hospitalization of this person. So, yung mga district hospitals po, ako po bilang kanilang provincial legal officer, tinatanong po ako kung kailangan po ba or pwede po bang i-deny. So, ang usual na po na sinasagot natin is dapat it should be in writing. However, the only information that we could give is a yes or no if that person was treated by the district hospital. Any information regarding the personal information, in fact, yung kung ano po yung trinid sa kanya is considered as privileged information. So anything that kung ipipilit man ng PNP, we respectfully tell them that a court order must be secured first. So wala naman with the PNP, with the strong partnership with the PNP, naiintindihan naman po nila. And in fact, sila po ang unang nagsasabi na kung minsan suntok sa buwan na lang na hihingi ng ganitong information or document, but still they are happy to for us giving them a simple information that does not contradict with the exception as listed sa ating ordinance.
I'd like to ask, dun sa La Union po ba, how would you gauge? Do you partner with the media, PIA?
Actually, ma'am, doon sa executive order ni President Duterte, mai-share ko lang din po, sa aming ordinance po kasi, ang naging focal person po is yung office ko, which is the Provincial Legal Office. Sa executive order po kasi, ang ginawa is yung tourism officer or yung information officer. But that doesn't mean that for us na naging lead or focal person or focal office para sa ordinance na ito, ang naging assistant po namin in this venture is the media information unit. Wala lang sila ngayon kasi merong mga next week po kasi is anniversary ng province, kaya they are doing things na medyo of equal importance. But sa aming media and information office po kasi meron na po print po kaming mga official website where information are also released to the public. So in a sense, meron na po kaming official website and may mga ibang radio stations din na nakikipag-partner din po kami. But still, syempre, covered by the privileged informations or communications subject to the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Sa inyo po, Mayor, sa Legazpi po, there are some LGUs na hirap po wala pa silang mga Wi-Fi. And dun sa pag-secure ng data, yung, alimbawa, gustong-gusto mo, may ordinansya ka. Pero as to how to go about with it, alimbawa, paano ninyo ginawa yung sistema ninyo dun sa computerization and the like po?
Yeah. Alam mo tama yan, although we have not the third player. But in Legazpi, it's not so big. Maganda yung, nag-appoint kasi ako ng focal person. And pinatner namin ang media. Mas maganda na yung transparency. And of course, the lead of the city, the barangay will play a major role in the dissemination of the information. Bigyan ko lang kayo ng isang sample ng madali. Sa mga barangay, meron kami nun sa city ko, sa city of Legazpi. Meron kami isang booth doon. Ito, pinadala ko na in advance kasi alam mo naman, may telepono sa mga barangay. We have 70 barangays in Legazpi and we have about 22 Ablan barangays. Although advance na rin, lahat na rin may nagtitext sa amin, At saka okay na rin namin doon, pero ito importante. No? So there's a monitoring tool on this. No? Ang mga tao, magsawa, wala naman nangyayari ito sa mga department head ni Mayor, hindi pwede yan sa amin. Kasi meron kaming focal person, meron kaming receive kung ano nangyari. And pag dininay sila ng department head, may appealable tayo to the Mayor and written. Ang buha, dininay sa iyo in 15 days, pwede kang mag-appeal sa akin. Bakit dininay ni Back Chairman yung inihingi mo? Ay, dapat itingnan ko rin kasi baka nag-abuse din ng discretion. Yun ang tinatawag natin na there's a checks and balance. No? Alam mo, sa tagal ko na rin talaga dito sa pwesto, marami siyempre niya magpapalusot din. Kasi nga, part of the ordinance. Pero ang karamihan lang sa ordinance, papakita ko sa inyo, karamihan yung exceptions. Diba? At ito. Information exception, the following information records, documents, and papers, however, are exempted from the coverage of the immediate proceeding section. Number 1, yun nga sinabi, yung information covered by executive privilege, no? Si Presidente. But ang marami dito, matters covered by deliberative process privilege. Ano yung mga sample niya? Maganda to, para di na kayo mahirapan yung kayo mga representative. Advisory opinions and recommendations given to the city mayor as part of his decision-making process. Sinabi yan ni Kwan. Hindi naman pwedeng malaman ngayon kasi doon tayo, bago mag-arrive, kailangan sa atin lang yon. Minutes of the deliberation of the sanggunian prior to the passage of a resolution of ordinance. Rights and privileges ng isang council, baka mamaya lahat ng sinasabi ko, paano kung maka-apekto rin sa election ko next year? Di ba? Hindi naman pwede yan. Ang importante yung result. Minutes of the committee hearing prior to the yan. Minutes of deliberation to the private public partnership selection committee. So nakadefine na lahat. Minutes of deliberation of the local operation committee. Kasi ang ilalabas mo rin, anong decision nila? Kung sinong na-award, hindi nila pwedeng itago yon. Kasi yung base na yon sa actual action nila regarding the matter. So again, hindi lang lahat, hindi question na mahina ang information technology. It's about the hard copy, the information to the different barangays. Kaya dapat si Juan de la Cruz may access. Babalik din tayo sa basic, yung sabi natin yung panahon, hard copy, dapat meron ng barangay para inform sila. So hindi pwede maging issue na mahina ang ating internet. No? It's just not a matter now of information. Tinatawag natin yan IEC. Information, education, and communication process.
Thank you, Mayor. Panyero sa inyo. Ano ang frequently asked questions? Ano yung mga dokumento na nire-request natin?
Sa amin, wala pa naman masyado ba. Ang tulad ng example ko kanina, usually yung mga police officers request for yung medical records. Sa Capitol naman po, provincial government, sa ngayon, wala pa naman po kaming nakukuhang ganun karami. But verbally, tinatanong lang nila kung pwede kumuha ng SALN. But they do not pursue naman. We ask them, pwede naman po kayong kumuha pero may mga certain items tayo na iniredact, ganun. Ganun po ba? Ganun. But yun nga po, when we request them to fill up yung request form, ay hindi naman na po nila tinutuloy.
Ayan. Yes, sometimes yun ang challenge. But of course, if we have on our phones, very empowering. Yung may cellphone tayo sa kamay natin, hindi gaya nung time namin noon na walang camera yung mga cellphone dati. Most of the time, ang mga kababayan natin pag may mga relatives sila na may sakit, at yung mga barangay captains natin, wala silang pampondo sa mga gusto nilang papondohan after ng mga disaster. Do they access the local governments, halimbawa sa La Union po, in terms of asking kung ano ang pwede niyong maitulong sa kanila, sa mga barangay po nila, yung ganun. Kasi for local governments, we ask the national government, OCD, how can you help us? Dole, how can you help us? Do we get requests like that? Because like I said, freedom of information is very empowering. They want to know what is it that the local government can give them. Do we have such cases po?
Sa province namin na walang gaano masyadong tanong because we
Ang bait naman nila or takot sila?
Hindi naman po, but we already provide them the basic necessities. Kung sakaling, kunyari, during calamities, meron namin rin na institutionalize na rin po sa amin yung 911, connected na po tayo sa national government, and nadi-deploy naman po kaagad yung mga tao natin from the PDRRMO. And then other than that, yung mga tanong lang nila, saan magaganap yung distribution ng goods, but for request for siguro sa tulong in times of calamities, siguro ang pinaka-medium namin is the 911 hotline.
Okay. Sa inyo po, Mayor, kasi we encounter, palimbawa sa amin sa PCOO, they would ask us, where can we get assistance for this one, and that one? What is it that we have in the local government? Do they ask those questions?
Actually, ASEC, kaya tinanong ko as attorney, ang provincial office kasi, ibang-iba ang karakteristik sa mga local, sa mga munisipyo, sa city. For your info, I hope you agree with me. Kasi mas attached tayo sa tao. Mas direct ang mga cities at municipalities. I'll give you a sample sa amin. Na? Because of the FOI, pero ang iba dito, ginagawa na natin. Like ang common, number 1, Business Permits and Licensing Office natin, yung or BPLO. Legazpi is one of the top 3 beneficiary ng pilot area. Diba? Pilot area, 5 years ago, na ako, isa na lang ang pirma. Ngayon nga, naka-digital ang firma ko. Halimbawa, nasa Manila ako, gumagalaw yung permit ng isang applicant. Basta covered na lahat yung requirement. Now, tingnan nyo. Ang karamihan, data on business establishments and other related information. No request denied. Lahat yan binibigay natin. Kasi, it's more on information that will strengthen the investment opportunity of your area. Okay? Number 2, ang karamihan, City Planning and Development Office. Karamihan dyan, iniingi, comprehensive land use plan. Dapat, updated ka palagi. Zoning ordinance. Dapat. City Development Projects. Diba? Proposed projects, suitable location related to client's research. No request denied. Meaning, successful tayo. 100% ang batting. May mga iba rin. Diba? City Engineer's Office, ito talaga isa sa mga madugo dyan. Diba? Yung building official. But in Legazpi, I'll tell you, pagdating doon sa mga list of national roads, number status of report of projects, medyo ahead kami sa ngayon. But why? Because of always in-attach kami sa mga grants. Meron kami ngayon tinatawag na yung stock project search ng World Bank tsaka ng Australian aid. We were a beneficiary of more than 30 million. As a matter of fact, siguro yung mga LGU dito na naturuan kami, yung tinatawag natin computerization of their real property. Nakarating kami as far as Pampanga, in Bicol, tinuturuan namin. So ito ang mga result niya, di ba? List of national roads, status of projects, project procurement plans. Wala dapat tayo deny yan. That is a public document. Diba? Kaya sa ngayon, masaya ako dahil kahit hindi kami nagkita-kita, namomonitor ko na the local government now institutionalized na ang sistema. Nobody is above the law. Once hindi bigay ng department head, mag-a-appeal yan sa akin. Ang meron lang ganito, sa city treasurer, marami dyan, ito na yung mga pasaway dyan. Of the total 5,121 requests, maniwala ba kayo, 20 lang ang hindi nabigay. Bakit? No documents presented and no special power of attorney. Ito na yung mga exception natin. Mamaya makita nyo, kita nyo sa ordinance natin. Protected pa rin natin yung mga rights and privileges. All requests granted as prior within hindi nga kami umabot ng 15 days. Yung mga requests na yan, 1 to 3 days lang. Dapat, no? So anyway, the moving forward ASEC, ito yung gusto kong maka-implement before ako magkatapos sa kasi ang term ko eh. Kasasabay na ako ng Presidente Digong, sabay na kami lalabas na eh. Lalabas sa Presidente, naka-play round siya, diba? Ako naka 2 rounds, di ba? Nung first round ko, pumalit si Mrs. Tapos, ako na naman. Mag-graduate na naman ako. Pag si Mrs. na naman yan, dynasty na talaga, dynasty. But sometimes, dynasty is bad. Sometimes, dynasty is good. Di ba? But sabi nga ni Presidente, pag bina natin sa demokrasya, di ba? Ganun talaga. Pero ito yung sinasabi ko nga, way forward, yung portal natin, di ba? Why we shouldn't have the portal? Ito gusto ko na kami nga ni Josek magiging awardee ang legacy, pero gusto ko ma-attain mo na to. Di ba? Ma-attain mo na tayo. Yung portal kasi napaka-important for continuity. Kahit hindi na ako ang mayor, hindi pwede magbago yung bagong mayor. Alis hindi pwede yan kasi coordinates yan. At saka monitoring tool na yan ng mga tao. Hindi mo yan pwede palitan. Ito na ngayon ang ginagawa natin. No? Kaya, records will not lie. I hope that if everyone, lalo na yung mga nakalisting dito, dapat meron kang performance audit. Kanina kasi nakita ko tuwa-tuwa ko yung sabi ko talaga on the right track ang Legazpi. Meron din siyang, di ba, kay Yosek yung performance audit niya, yung denied. Meron talaga, hindi pwedeng lahat. Lalo na yung mga dating sa mga pasaway na magkakaso lang. Di ba? You have also to protect that. Di ba? Like for example, yung ating mga personal, hindi pwede yung hingi ng isang body kung hindi naman o public kasi directions ko yan, di ba? Not unless i-authorize ko na kunin niya yan, di ba? Kaya, or a competent board. Kasi kailangan sa kaso. Okay? So, yun naman nakita ko very pakagawa ng natin. Alam mo, di ako abogado, hindi pa ako nakagraduate. Hanggang 3rd year pa lang ako. Kasi takot ako mag-bar. Hindi ko na kaya eh. Mabuti itong dalawa. Kaya sabi ko, maganda itong ginawa ng I hope all LGUs mag-ordinance ito. Because ito ang kulang natin asset. Actually, ang akala ng mga mayors, sabi ko, makagawa lang ng mga tangible projects. Why is it may na ang investment opportunity in the provinces? Why is it kulang ang nagtitiwala? Kasi lack of access to information. This will now be more on information. Like for Legazpi, I tell you, dati pinapa kami palagi kung hindi pa ako mayor, hindi ako sabihin pag ako ang pinakamagaling. Hindi ko lang sabi na ako nagpabago ng Legazpi. Nung ako 1995, barangay captain pa ako, 2-time, councilor ako, mga kalsada, bago-bago talaga. Yan ang promise ko nung ako mag-mayor. Hanggang mayor nga, may kalsada na ngayon. And nobody thought that all the mega malls in Makati will invest in Legazpi. Di ba? And maniwala kayo, lahat ng lupa dyan, private-public partnership. Di ba? Dahil access to information. Pumunta kayo ng sentro, Ayala, di ba?
So,
lahat na.
Mayor,
Ayala,
na kami sa Legazpi.
Kasi nga yung China, nauna pa ako kay Presidente, nakapita sa China. Kung gusto niyo yung mga made in China, marami ako doon, air condition pa. Diyan sa Divisoria, panukutan ka pa. Doon sa akin, kaya 5 big buildings.
Okay, kung ilan tayo dito, palista na rin.
Hindi, sinasabi ko lang. Bakit? Because of access to information. And no, kami baga bagyuhin, but no investment in low-lying areas. You have to have your own laws which is accessible to your investors. Ano ba yan ang investment area? Investment opportunity. I tell you, marami na tayong matuturo sa why Legazpi is considered really. We are the only local government who was able to construct an engineered landfill. Kahit sa Manila, wala pa akong makakita. Na engineered landfill na hindi nag-utang at hindi pera. I received, would you believe, 130 million grant.
Wow.
Diba? With no takeout, one of the best landfill in the country.
Sinong nagbigay, sir? Para alam nila kung saan ihingi.
Nagbigay sa akin kasi bakit nagbigay? Ang Legazpi po is named after the last Spanish conquistador. Adelantado, Miguel Lopez, nandun-search ko yan. And there are only 2 Legazpi in the world. One in Zumaraga, Spain, and one in LA, di ba sikat kami?
Magpalit na rin kayo ng pangalan sa mga munisipyo, para relate na kayo.
Totoo yan, with that, pumunta mismo kami sa Sumaraga. At the time, ang mayor nun, si asawa ko that we put in the archive, 100 years or 1 century from now, that the mayor of Legazpi went to Sumaraga to partner in the Basque Country, Spain. Pumunta kami doon with our own money. Sabi kasi ni Presidente, huwag ako para gastos ng gobyerno kasi nagpunta kami doon. And we received that, and we awaited hindi to pagyabang, kahit tanungin nyo ang TINA. We are rated as one of the best practices right now. Pumunta ka ng Legazpi, wala kang makita ng basurahan, di ba? In the main thoroughfares. So you have to see na...
Magkano ang per square meter sa Legazpi?
Ayan lang talaga, tumataas kasi ito kasi mga pero meron ako sa inyo mga piso pa, sandaan pa, marami ako doon, pero medyo sa labas na, pero new development. I am now building a new investment area in the Ablan, Legazpi, I tell you. Alam mo, if we want really to decongest Manila, alam mo nung minsan kausap ko si Pangulo, sabi ko, if we want to decongest Manila, we have to strengthen the provinces. But sabi ko, strengthening the provinces is easier said than done. It's not only build. Magaling ang Pangulo, di ba? But it's about opportunities for employment. I tell you, why the people go to Manila? Because no opportunities. Itong FOI natin, pang nagpa-strengthen natin, maraming maniniwala. Para na rin kayong Legazpi. Before, nung ako, ang income ng Legazpi asset is only 65 billion. Totoo yan. Ngayon, billionaire na ako.
Wow! Palakpakan natin ang Legazpi. Lipat na talaga tayo doon. So, Mayor.
Hindi naman sa panahon. Ngayon, nung lalabas ako sa Legazpi, billionaire na Legazpi, ang income ko yung more than a billion already. Kasi nagabayad sila. Kasi nga, naniniwala sila na si Mayor, matino yung gobyerno kasi yung mga department head, merong batas, subject sila doon sa batas na yan. Ito, totoo natin itong FY. I tell you, this is more on the protection, not only of the people, but the sincere effort of the local chief executive. Manuwang lang kayo. Pag wala talaga, tao lang tayong lahat. Pag maniwala ka dyan kay Mayor, wala naman, hindi naman natin alam niya. Pero kung meron ka nito, babantayin sa. Because remember, under the ordinance, mga pare ko, meron ditong suspension. Meron expulsion. May first offense, second offense, third offense. They have to be very careful. Nobody is indispensable in this ordinance. Yan ang medyo prayer. Pag hindi ka nag-action, nag-appeal sa akin, first strike ka sa akin, treasurer ka, lalo na yung mga assessor, di ba, na arbitrarily, di ba? Nung nag-computerize ako ng one asset, nag-umpisa ako ng we have one of the best right now in our data namin, nakita sa mga real property. Talagang I was forced to, kasi di mo naman pwede tanggalin ng isang department at kagad with cost dapat yan. You can only 1 year. Sayang mo yan kasi marami na suspended ng governor yan. Meron na tinanggal kasi nga hindi nagpapasa. Tinanggal niya kasi governor na ako ngayon. I don't want to name names ha. Meron yan, tinanggal na governor. Sinabihan na ng civil service, ibalik mo yan kasi privilege yan o right yan ng isang department. Hindi mo yan pwede tanggalin yan without cause. Pero kasi governor siya, tinanggal niya. He was removed from office. Diba?
Itago natin sa panganawag na lang, sir.
Yeah, kaya sabi ko nga, ito FOI is a protection of everyone.
Yes.
Na meron tayong batas na sinusunod.
And of course, I believe that with the partnership sa DILG po, siguro si Mayor sa Legazpi na rin, and for all of us here na nasa local government, as Ablan, the FOI Project Management Bureau have been working on partnering with the DILG kasi maraming grant, especially for 2021, ang Office of the President. So, paano tayo magiging beneficiary dun sa mga awards na to, kung pati yung mga simpleng bagay on transparency and accountability hindi natin kaya. So, I'm sure ASIC Ablan have been working with DILG, and I'm sure Mayor siguro ayaw na niyang i-access ang LGFS funds and yung mga pondo kay Pangulo kasi baka World Bank, Spain, baka Australia, US na rin ang bibigay sa kanya. And then, for La Union, of course, what are the ways forward? How do you see the FOI being implemented in your municipalities, even in the barangay, so that they know that there's something about the FOI that they can access?
Actually, sa amin as of this month, kasi yung mga ordinances ng mga component LGUs ay dumadaan din sa Sangguniang Palalawigan for review. I believe there are already out of 19 municipalities and 1 city, 3 to 4 na po ang nakapag-submit or nakapag-enact ng kanilang FOI ordinance. So, basically, ang pinaka-importante ngayon, kami po sa La Union ay baguhan pa lang sa FOI, sa pag-implement ng FOI. So, ang pinaka-important first step sa amin is really the information dissemination. How can we enable our component local government units para at least not just because it's a compliance requirement ng DILG or magiging compliance na siya, requirement na siya sa SGLG next year, but because it has already been practiced by us. Hindi lang naman natin kasi alam na pinapractice na natin noon pa yung pagbibigay ng information. Ang pinaka-exception lang naman kasi niyan is we should always give information na hindi po siya kasama sa mga exceptions na binigay natin, and at the same time we should be very careful in accordance with the Data Privacy Act na in place na ngayon. So yun lang naman po eh. All the rest, siguro 80% ng mga information na naibibigay na po natin is already covered by the FOI. So basically, practitioners na po tayo lahat dito ngayon, especially sa ating mga local government units present today.
Thank you, Panero. And Mayor, I know you've been so active with FOI, and of course we'd like to thank you because not a lot of LGUs would give importance to empowering mga kababayan natin. What are ways forward that you would suggest to our kababayans here today, sa mga kasama natin sa local government po, that they can do apart from all the things that you've been doing? Ano pa yung mga programa na gusto nyo i-share sa kanila para mapropagate pa ninyo ang FOI po sa lunas?
Yes, ang una-una, yung mga executive orders na ginawa ng mayor, hindi yan talaga continuing. Remember, executive orders on during the lifetime only of the mayor. So dapat institutionalize natin yan. No? Yan ang una-muna. Yung mga ordinansa niya, o good na kayo. Then there are also room for, sabi nga ni Ablan sa atin, pwede natin yung ordinansa rin. Hindi ko pa rin itong perfecto, pwede mong i-upgrade naman to, i-amend pa kung hindi adaptable to present time. Yan na nakita ko, kung hindi adaptable sa inyo, if you have still best practices, you can amend that. No? And number two, itong sinasabi ko yung way forward ko. Na yung portal kasi, installing a city FOI portal with manpower complement. Dito ngayon, nagkakalabanan. Nag-umpisa yan sa atin alam niyo ba yung CDRMC? Kaya marami din nakapasa sa SGLG, di ba? Marami ng mga local government, no? Hindi naman sa pag-ibang. Legazpi is a consistent 5-time continuing SGLG, no? Hopefully, mga 6 na tayo. Pero may nadagdag na naman tayo, ha? Education, di ba? Youth, health, di ba? Ngayon na naman, sabi ni Hasek, nadagdag na naman natin ito. Pag hindi ka dito, ang sabi ni Secretary Anyo, all in. Di ba? Kahit magaling ka dito sa drug, wala ka doon, tanggal ka. No? So ito ngayon ang masabi ko, isang maganda. There should now be a section. Di ba? There should now be an office. Ito talaga ang gusto kong legacy kong may lagay dyan bago ko magtapos. Ito kasi mag-out na rin ako. Di ba? An office now that will really be the monitoring area. Kasi para sa akin, any project, any program in my more than 21 years as mayor, mga 21 years ako, ang kulang ng local government, ang monitoring. Hindi na mo-monitor ano nangyari dito. Kaya dahil project na hindi tapos o hindi na may-maintain, dapat may important tayong focal person and dapat may opisina na every department may record basis tayo. Ito ngayon ang way forward na. Ang baba, treasurer, for the week, ano ang mga na-deny, ano ang mga na-approve, tsaka lahat ng pumasok. Tapos naka-file up natin yan, tsaka may database tayo. Halimbawa, may pumasok sa aking complaint, balikan ko tayo. Yun ang gusto ko na ma-attain natin. This will now really be, sabi nga natin, a truer sense of institutionalizing the program. Dapat talaga may opisina na gumamon. Kasi pag wala, it will just remain an ordinance. Gaya ng isang mga ordinance na ginawa natin. Corpio, ano pa yan, anti-littering, parang ganyan lang yan. Diba? Gaya ng mga CDRMC, sabi ng mga mayor. Ikaw mayor, meron ka bang City Disaster Management Council? Yes sir. Yung pala, naggawa lang naman ng ordinansa. Wala namang mga tao, walang pundo.
Hindi
Diba?
nararamdaman.
Hindi man yan. You cannot attain zero casualty.
Yes, yes.
I'll tell you, it's not easy to attain zero casualty. We were hit by PCOO, one of the most powerful typhoon last year. But we have retained that zero casualty, diba? A booming 240 kilometers per hour, diba? Because of preemptive evacuation. Kaya nga, the system is in place and the majority of the people, I tell you, this FOI will improve the majority of people to comprehend and connect with our government. And that's the only way if you can get the trust and confidence. Not only for your document, but also more on investment opportunity. Yan ang nakita ko.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Ayan, magla-lunch na. Tapos, medyo iniirapan ako ng mga kasamahan natin. Okay, we'll have an open forum for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, any question? We want to go to the gas. Yes, sir. At the back, we'll be assisted by our kasamahan, mga kasamahan na may
Legazpi Big City, so that upon our return to our province, yes sir, so that upon our return to our province, we can immediately and right away present the ordinance to our leaders. And
wala ka pa na sa binasa mo, anong mga...
only one
about the
question.
people, anong tingin mo sa taon nyo?
Only one question that I have, Mayor. In the draft and proposed ordinance for FOI that I have browsed, I do not see any office that will conduct the investigation whenever there is a disciplinary or administrative proceedings that will be conducted on the violators. There is none. Even the monitoring that the Mayor was saying a while ago, there is none in the proposed FOI ordinance. Siguro doon sa Legazpi ordinance, baka meron pong monitoring office. But here, wala po. And also, what are the disciplinary mechanism that will be conducted? Kasi po, bibigyan natin ng due process. Ang ipe-penalize natin dito yung tao natin, remember? Hindi po yung private persons. Yung tao po natin. Siyempre, nakakaawa naman. Kailangan natin silang i-accord ng due process. Ayun po. Sino yung magkakandak? At kasi po sa local government code, kapag ka-elective official, the sangguniang concern will conduct the investigation and will meet the sanction. Pagka-appointed officials, sino po? Kasi may mag-assist dapat kay Mayor. Si Mayor lang yung sabi, sige, reprimand ka. O sige, suspended ka. O sige, dismiss ka. Ayun po.
We'll believe that the ordinance.
Thank you very much.
And board member, the office of si Chris Ablan is willing to go anywhere in the country to help out in the drafting of the ordinance. And maganda nga, every time na may ginagawang ordinance, we learn from it. And of course, ulit, thank you sa...
Pwede bang board member ba siya?
Opo.
Board, may ibigay lang tang tip doon, sabi mo na sino ang magatingin kung ang penalty niya or talaga ba nagkasala siya. Diba? Number 1, yung portal na sinasabi mo, mayroong office. Diba? Number 2, ito ang gusto ko pa idagdag dito, gaya pa sa disciplining of employees. Balikan natin yan. Under the civil service, pag may hearing employees tayo, meron tayong tinatawag na grievance machinery, ba? Meron tayo dyan. Board. Sa executive kasi kami, meron kami yung grievance. Pwede mo kong ipasok yan doon. But based pa rin sa ordinance. Titignan natin doon kasi may exception na to. Ang safety net dito, kaya hindi binigyan ni Treasurer kasi nandun sa exception. Ganun na naman kasimple yan. Very simple nang i-define yan. Hindi naman ganun kahirap sa local government. Bakit mo hindi binigyan? Hindi naman to sa nasa exception na. This about information in discipline. Bakit hindi mo may tinatago ka pa? Yun. First offense mo, okay, reprimand ka muna. Next time, huwag mo itong gagawin, di ba?
Salamat, Mayor. Any more questions?
Ma'am, pwede pong in addition to Mayor's
Yeah. Sige, 1 minute po kasi we only have 5 minutes.
Sa amin po sa La Union, sir, when it comes to administrative cases, although nasa local government code po is the local chief executive has the power to discipline yung mga meron pong ginawang executive order si governor na dinelegate niya. In the first place, tama po yung sinabi ni sir, we are covered kasi by civil service rules and sa ngayon, 2017 rules on administrative cases in the civil service. So yun po yung Bible natin when it comes to administrative cases.
Ayan, thank you, Panyero. Sandali. Si Ma'am.
Okay, good morning everyone. Just a piece of information. The City of Masbate, with the presence of our City Vice Mayors and 2 City Vice Mayor and 2 of our City Councilors, promised to pass the FOI ordinance within this year. Okay. And also a piece of question for ASEC.
Yes, Mayor.
Yung PSA ba, Power Supply Agreement, kasama dun sa 9, dun sa siyam na hindi bawal, the exception. Kasama ba yung Power Supply Agreement?
Mayor, ano po ang Power Supply Agreement?
It's just a Power Supply Agreement between our local electric supplier and the MCI, yung distributor. Kasi po, just a backgrounder, short backgrounder, may sinasabi yung local supplier namin na mayroon silang exclusive contract with the MCI, which is supplying coal as a source of energy. And we don't want that in our city because it's a very destructive form of power supply. And we have now the Renewable Energy Act. So, kung may exclusive contract na, which is nakasama dun sa PSA, kailangan pala mabasa namin, no? So that we can, we know na yung, di ba, yung onerous contract, parang bawal na yata yun. So, I wrote a letter to Maselco, sumulat sila sa ERC. Ang reply ng kanilang legal division of OO, sabi niya, paki-check dun sa PSA kung may nakalagay dun, may nakalagay yung sa data privacy clause. Kasi kung mayroon nun, we cannot divulge. So sabi ko naman, I am a consumer, bakit hindi ako pwede maka-access sa power supply agreement na pinirmahan ng Maselco board na wherein kami lang ang naglagay sa kanila. So yun yung question.
Yes, ma'am. Pwede po yan. Based on the facts that you mentioned, since it's a government contract, as a citizen and as a chief executive, you can actually request for that. Yung concern po ng ERC kung may data privacy concerns may be balanced po by reduction. Because that's our also advice to other government offices which you can also adopt. Kasi po yung mga kontrata po, meron po tayong mga sensitive personal information there. Then may mga national security provisions there. Then that can be reducted. The answer is not to disclose the information. The answer there is to disclose the information and redact the sensitive personal information. So hindi po sapat yung sagot nila na porket may data privacy yun 100% din na pwede i-disclose. Eh di i-redact lang nila yung portion na hindi pwede i-disclose. So you have a right to that now.
Thank you. Last question. One question.
By the way, if you have any questions for me, I will be asking this after lunch. I will be answering them after lunch. Let's reserve the last question po for our resource persons.
Would that be for our resource person, sir? Yes, sir? Sige po.
I think it is important that we relate the freedom of information right of citizens in the prevention or discouraging of corruption. And the lectures of the PCOO, in this regard, I suggest that the lectures of the PCOO must relate freedom of information to other related laws, like the Ombudsman Law, RA 3079, Unexplained Wealth Law, RA 6713, Presidential Decree number 46, the giving and receiving of gifts. And basic information that citizens, constituents must ask their governments is how many or how much properties are held by base officials in their municipalities, in their towns, in their cities, in their provinces. Again, relate that information to the phenomenon of political dynasties in the country. In my province, La Union, we are supposed to be a province of a political dynasty which has been in our province for more than 100 years.
Question po, sir.
Yes.
What's
The question is, in the ordinances that the local government must enact or draft, would there be a portion there that will encourage citizens to obtain basic information that will lead to the prevention of corruption? Thank you.
Siguro, si attorney kasi tiga-ano po yun po, si Sir I Suman.
We acknowledge the presence of course ni City Councilor Rizaldi Laudencia from the city of San Fernando, La Union. Ang beauty po kasi nun, sir, when it comes to the FOI, we are not only limited to what we have enacted this moment. Yung sinabi po ni Mayor kanina, we can always amend, we can always evolve. So, I agree na meron pong mga dapat interconnections with some laws, the Ombudsman Law, the Public Officers Law. Dapat meron nga po talaga yun. But ang importance po kasi nito is, yun nga po, your connection with your constituents would depend on the ordinance that you will enact. So, in your question, sir, kung meron itong yung basic na FOI ordinance natin, kung meron yung mga portions na yun, I think in general wala po. But sa city po, if you deem it important, if you deem it necessary na ilagay po ito, wala pong prohibition na hindi po natin pwedeng ilagay.
Thank you. 1 minute, Mayor. Promise.
Okay. Kay Councilor, ako take note, ang mukhang wala kasi di ba, sabi ko nga, take note of the definition of terms. Ha? Pag gumawa kayo ng mga ordinance, ito ko lang, mamaya, total, like the letter A, ano ang information? B, ano ang official records or records? Ano ang public record or records? Ano ang coverage? Di ba? And of course, the proactive disclosure. Ano ang definition ng access to information? And finally, ano ang mga exception? Ako pointers ko lang ito, pero ito kompleto na ito. Itong sinasabi na attorney. Madidefine na niyo dito. Andito lahat, di ba? Ano ang exception, access to information, ano ang proactive disclosure, ano ang coverage, ano ang public record, ano ang official record, and of course, ano ang information. Okay? Thank you very much.
Councilor, thank you for the suggestion. And for the information of our councilor and sa ating po lahat, the Office of the Ombudsman conducts ITAPs. It's a transparency training for all local governments. So, in as much as we wanted to bring in all the laws related to the freedoms in the Constitution, medyo limitado rin po tayo. But if there are local governments who would like to request for the ITAPs of the Transparency in Government Service, we can assist you po sa FOI, through the FOI po. Final words from our panelists so that we parang kanina medyo madilim yung mga mata nyo, ngayon parang puting-puti na lahat sa gutom. Mayor and then Panyero.
Konti na lang. There's no such thing as a perfect ordinance. But we can improve this and improve them. But what is important, you implement it to the fullest, as stated in your ordinance. Thank you very much.
Siguro sa amin, for me, as tulad nung na-flash po kanina ni si Ablan, yung pag-enact po natin ng ating FOI ordinance is a form of a pact parang pogi points po sa atin yon in relation with our constituents. Because we are building continually yung trust na pag hindi natin binigay itong mga information na ito, baka hindi kayo paniniwalaan. But if these informations are made readily available to them, nabibuild yung trust and confidence nila, especially sa mga elected officials. Thank you.
Salamat po. Diyos mabalos, Mayor, Agyamana, Panyero. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. And that ends our panel discussion.
Thank you, Asik Marie. Thank you, Mayor Luzon. And thank you, Attorney Luzon. Pwedeng stay po muna tayo on stage and we would like to award
Punta tayo sa Legazpi.
We would like to award you po with our Certificate of Appreciation. The PCOO awards this Certificate of Appreciation to Attorney Dominic Jose S. Luzon and Honorable Noel Rosal respectively for sharing their valuable knowledge and insight during the Freedom of Information Conference for local government units given this 21st day of February 2020 at the Orchard Hotel, Baguio City, Philippines. Signed, Attorney Kristian R. Ablan, PCOO Assistant Secretary and FOI Program Director.